What is up, internet? What is up, girls and boys? I am Bianca, and I hope that you are all having a wonderful week. This video is kind of different from my usual, but it's something that I would like to share nonetheless with all the games that are currently out and the huge variety of them. So, here are 4 games that I am currently hooked playing, and we're talking about the time frame of the past week, which is July 1st to July 7th. I know that there's a plethora of new and notable games that have come out, and though these are not necessarily old games or niche ones, I feel like it's worth noting that these are the games, as I have mentioned before, I currently enjoy playing. Not all of them are console games though. I have a couple that are on mobile that I'm certainly having fun playing, and some may come as news to others, while a couple are already pretty well-known games. I think that it is safe to consider these as mini reviews or thoughts and impressions for each title. So, first up is a game that I have already shared my thoughts on when I played its demo, Scarlet Nexus. Now, I stand by what I said in that video. The gameplay is fun, the story is interesting, and although the graphics look beautiful and the music gets you into the mood, whether it be to hype you up or make you emotional, the presentation of the story, which is done mostly in a sort of comic book-esque style, is something I'm not a fan of. I would have preferred cutscenes were done in the typical 2D or 3D animated way. How the story of the game is divided between the two characters, Yuito and Kasane, also leaves something to be desired, especially with Kasane's side of the story, as hers ended up more like a side story with how it is paced compared to Yuito's, who's more fleshed out. The fact that once you get both of their groups together and the story pretty much ends up identical to one another with just a couple of lines deviating is really a bit disappointing. I was hoping for the story to be expanded a little more than what we got. Character-wise, Kasane is a lot more interesting and showed more growth as a character than the one-sided, much too kind, flat character Yuito ended up being. But like I've said, I enjoy playing the game and I'm currently working my way to getting all the achievements in it, which isn't hard at all, though there are a couple of missable trophies for it.
Grab it! There! Finish this!
With how much I enjoyed playing this title, I am hoping, as with how it ended, that there would be a sequel to it. As for the anime, I watched the first episode of it, but it didn't interest me as much as the game did, which is unlike how it was for me with God Eater, whose video game and anime I equally enjoyed. Moving on to the PC is a game that I also sunk a lot of time in the past few days, surprisingly so. It's Cloud Cutter. Cloud Cutter is a classic indie arcade shoot-'em-up from Just 2 that is equal parts frustrating as it is addictively fun. The game is comprised of 13 missions where you try to take down your enemies without getting your own fighter plane shot down in the process. There are no checkpoints and you only got one life, forcing you to be quick and push your reflexes to the limit. The controls are simple and the graphics looks pretty cool. The music, not so much. Each level feels unique and the bosses even more so. It also has co-op to it, which can be fun if you have someone to play the game with. The game is short, however, and it banks on your desire to want to get better scores and get all the stars in the level it has, which is something I am still currently working on myself. Unfortunately, there is no upgrade mechanic for your aircraft apart from what the game itself forces on you, so it really does all depend on your skill and the special attacks you can get from the pickup items enemies drop from time to time. And the way enemies and bullets sometimes are hard to see makes this game a lot more difficult than it needs to be. Like I've said, it's pretty fun and addicting if you're into this kind of games, or if you're looking for a quick pick-me-up, since if you're not planning on replaying the game, it can take you about 90 minutes to beat. Of course, it can take longer or shorter depending on your skill level. Next up is one of the mobile games that has gotten my phone's battery quickly needing a recharge. D4DJ Groove Mix. D4DJ Groove Mix is, as the title of this game suggests, a rhythm game with visual novel and gacha elements tied to it, featuring as colorful a cast of characters as there are range in music. Since this is a gacha, and since I stumbled into this game a bit late, I have a hard time catching up to the scores while playing against those who have been into this game for quite a much longer time than I. I can't really say much with the story or the characters themselves because I tend to not pay that much attention to it, especially on games like these, except when it's a Love Live School Idol game, and I usually just skip through everything and just try to get as much diamonds as I could for use in unlocking more characters. But for the gameplay itself, it's pretty addicting in that you want to get better and better and want to be able to unlock and beat all the songs as you can. Not to mention get as many of the 4-star characters as you possibly could without bankrupting yourself. What's pretty cool about this game is that it has original songs you could mix with anime and game-related music, and it stimulates, in the most basic way possible, scratching discs as a disc jockey or a DJ for short. You can also select which music will go as part of the set from the interesting list of songs they have, and how it ends up mixing depends on the order by which you choose them, which opens up a lot of possibilities in the live shows, which is what they call each exhibition you play. It also has challenges you can try to beat in exchange for in-game prizes, as well as events where you can play limited time songs or get limited time characters. It's actually one of the pretty good rhythm games for mobile currently out, only comparable to, again, Love Live School Idol Project and Bang Dream. The second of the two mobile games that I'm currently killing my phone's battery with is My Hero Academia: The Strongest Hero, which is a game that I had to use a QApp just to download since it's not available in my region. My Hero Academia: The Strongest Hero is one of the many official games for the highly acclaimed manga series, and it is one of the best it has to offer, if you don't count how strongly unbalanced the game could be against people unwilling to dole out cash for it. In this game, you basically are someone who has started their own hero agency, and you've taken under your wing some of the cast of the manga/anime itself, provided you can unlock them. You get Midoriya, Kirishima, and Kaminari as your first 3 heroes, and the rest falls down to luck, and to collecting the character shards needed to unlock the characters from the students of Class 1A and pro heroes and villains alike. Apart from that, the game is what I had hoped the Boku no Hero games on consoles would be. Open world, or semi-open world. And though there are some instances where the story in this game makes no sense, like a pro-hero agency needing to undergo training in UA for the heroes that are currently part of the academy, and although the enemies themselves are lacking in variety and doing missions requires hefty amounts of stamina that takes far too long to replenish, it's still pretty neat, and I found myself playing it for several hours trying to get Yao Momo, who is my favorite Boku no Hero character alongside Kyokajiro, who is sadly missing from the current roster. There are also a lot of other game modes present, which is typical in these kinds of games, and which is geared more towards being fun for those who actually invested money into it. Otherwise, it does become quite a slog, and the difficulty greatly increases to the point where you would have to pass on opportunities to join in on limited events because your characters are weak. Still, as I've said, it's pretty fun despite not joining in the pay-to-win players. It is also a time-consuming game and one that is helping stave off my craving for anything related to Boku no Hero Academia. But anyways, those are just some of the games that I've currently been playing and juggling for the past week. Have you guys played or tried any of these titles, or do you have your own video game addiction right now? Tell me on the comment section below, and I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, you guys know the drill. Dream on, fly on. Bye bye for now. Keep safe, everyone.
Someday we'll have a last conversation, drink our last cup of coffee. Someday we might be 80 and think about the